Hello, hello, beautiful souls. Naomi Fox Reyna here, and I am so excited because we are doing the second in the series for the human design aura types. And today we're going to be talking about the manifestor. And we talked about the projector from the perspective of the uninvited projector. And when the projector just kind of inserts him or herself, even though they weren't invited to, and what that looks like. And that one was excellent. And there's lots and lots of good comments that are even still coming in at the time that I'm making this video. So, and I mentioned in there, I asked if you guys wanted a series, and here you go. This is the second in the series. And I will organize this into the human design guides section for the learning human design in the guides. So you guys can also, I'll stack them up as I do them in there. So let's go over what is a manifestor, what does their aura look like what's their strategy and authority, and all of that, and figure out how to help support you if you are a manifestor, or how to help you understand the manifestors in your life if you have some that you just don't really understand or get, or you're constantly frustrated or angry or bitter at them. And just the whole thing. So if you're here live, please do hashtag live. And if you're here for the replay, do hashtag replay. And I always love seeing those come through. And so, and of course, I'd love your interactions and all of that. So feel free to ask questions if you're on live. That's part of the benefit of being here live. And so we'll just dive in. So those in human design that are a manifestor, and if you don't know your human design type yet, you can run your chart at jovianarchive.com or myhumandesign.com. There's lots of places to do it. It's for the most part, it doesn't really matter where you run it. And just make sure that your birth minute is accurate, because I have seen it completely change the entire aura type based on from 1 minute to the next. Not always. Like the day I was born, it doesn't change at all. I went in and put in all the different minutes, not all the different minutes, but I went and jumped around throughout the whole day and ran charts for my whole day, and only a few things changed the day that I'm born, even though I'm really, really sure of my birth minute, but that can be interesting if you want to explore that for yourself. So, but just make sure that the birth minute is accurate so that you can get the most accurate chart for you. So there's 5 different aura types in human design, and the manifestors are actually one of the less common. They're the second least common type. Only about 8 to 9% of the population are manifestors. And what makes you a manifestor is if you have an undefined sacral, and you have a connection from any one of the other 3 motors in the chart to the throat. So that could be the will center, also called the heart center, the emotional solar plexus, or the root. And if any of those 3 are connected to the throat center, then that gives you a channel of that motor to the throat, so that the throat is able to express. Awesome, Tessa. So excited that you're here. She's an emotional manifestor. So what that means is that her emotional center is defined, and there's a connection from any one of her other 3, any one of the 3 motors that's non-sacral to the throat. So it's fantastic. Somebody could be a manifestor and have their heart center defined, and also their spleen, or you could be defined through the spleen to the root, because then if it's just the root and not the other 2 motors, there's lots of ways to do it, but it's not the sacral, and it's any one of the other 3 motors defined and a motor to the throat. I do not have a defined throat center, and so sometimes when I talk too much, my throat says, "Why are you still talking?" And I've been running lately, which is, anybody who knows me is should we be scared? Is there something to run from? I've been running very, very short in the morning. We're talking 6 or 7 minutes of a run, and I run until my lungs hurt. And so I've been working some stuff out of my lungs, physically as well as emotionally and energetically. So forgive my voice. I've been coughing off and on all day. I feel fantastic. I'm not ill, but out in public, if I were to be coughing the way that I have today, people would look at me funny and be like, "Why are you not wearing a mask?" So I feel terrific, but yes, we're going to just honor that my throat is not defined, and I am not a manifestor. And so every aura type has their own way that their aura interacts with others. And the manifestor aura is actually repelling and very dense, which at first is like, oh, I don't want to be that one. That sounds terrible. That does not mean that it's synonymous with your personality. You could have like a really lovely personality that is very like, come on in, like, I just want to take care of you. But your aura is repelling, and people are going to be repelled by your aura to some extent, which is just something to be aware of. Now, the reason why the manifestor's aura is repelling is it actually protects you from too much going on with your sacral. Because you have an undefined sacral, which is also the case for projectors and reflectors. So there's 3 types that have that undefined sacral. It makes you very susceptible to overworking, overdoing things, pushing too hard, getting overdone, and just totally obliterating your energy levels and becoming exhausted and burnt out. And the undefined sacral, any center that's white in your chart, that's also called undefined, has the capacity to over amplify, like infinitely amplify and express the energy that that center governs. And so the undefined sacral has the ability to over express physical energy. So a not self manifestor, somebody who's not living true to themselves, could look like the most energetic person around. They could be doing all the things, and they could be like Superwoman. And Tessa says, is that why a Manny Jen close to me would always be like, are you okay? You feel distant. Let's get you energy. You are energetic. Come on, let's fix it. Yes, that could be absolutely what's going on with that repelling aura. Just to be aware of it, and you can check in and be like, are they just experiencing my repelling aura? Okay, yeah, then that's fine. So yes, what it does is it kind of keeps people out so that you're less likely to burn out. And so if you actually like break that down and try to stop that from happening, you can be removing one of your natural protection mechanisms to keep your energy safe. Because what manifestors are here to do is, your strategy is to inform. You are the only aura type. You are less than 10%. You're 8 to 9% of the planet. You are the only one here that's supposed to just start stuff. The rest of us get to wait. We have some version of waiting, and we are literally all waiting on you to start the things. And so you initiate, you get the ball rolling. You are this force of nature. You're actually the only type that's what's called pure energy. Because you have a motor to the throat, it creates that manifestation center. The throat is the manifestation center. It's how we manifest the things that we do. And obviously, if you have an undefined throat, you can still manifest things. And we'll actually get more into that at the end of this video about the upcoming eclipse portal. But I manifest stuff all the time. I have an awesome life, and I've manifested tons of incredible things in my life. And not only am I not a manifestor, I'm not a manifesting generator, and I don't have a motor to the throat. I don't even have a defined throat. So I don't want to conflate this and have people be like, oh, I guess I can't manifest because I'm not a manifestor or a manifesting generator. But absolutely, that's not true. But you're here to create manifestation through your voice, and we're all just literally waiting. And so what you need to do is you need to inform. We are waiting for you to inform us, because a lot of times what happens to you fabulous manifestors is you decide something with your awesome, brilliant brains, and you just go do it. And you don't tell anybody else what's happening. And this can have anywhere from like mildly annoying results for you and for other people to like catastrophic, because your energy, because you are pure energy, it's like you're a freight train, and you're like, okay, cool, I decided what I'm going to do. Boom, I'm going to go. And you're like, I'm going to go from here to New York, and I'm going to do it as fast as I can, because, you know, fast is fun and all the things. And it's like you're whipping through all the countryside and everything, and there's people literally standing and waiting at the train station, waiting to board, and the train not only doesn't slow down, but it doesn't allow anybody to get on at all. And so people are just kind of like, okay, and so they'll just leave and go to another train station. But they're waiting for you to slow down just a tiny bit to say, oh, this is what's happening. And so that manifestor type needs to be super aware that you need to do this highly unnatural thing. It is super unnatural for you to slow down and inform. But if you don't do it, you're going to end up doing things by yourself. Like, there's not going to, by the time you get to New York on that bullet train, like, there's not going to be anybody there to help you with the thing, and you're probably going to be exhausted. And so you need the help, and also it allows other people to have their own experience, and it just creates cohesiveness. Like, you might find as a manifestor that the connections that you have in your life get really put off by your lack of informing. So like an adult example of this would be like for grown-ups, and then I'll tell one about children and like parenting the manifestor child. But so like an example as a manifestor, say you're hanging out with your partner and you're like, hey, yeah, let's watch a show tonight. That sounds great. And they're like, cool, I'm just going to jump in the shower real quick because I haven't showered today. And as soon as I'm out, we'll watch. And it's like, great. And so they jump in the shower, and then you're like, oh, you know what'd be great is a pizza. Like, I would totally love to have some pizza with our meal tonight. And so they, as the manifestor, you are like, cool. So you just grab the keys. You don't stop to inform anybody. And for some reason you forget your cell phone and you just go, and you're like, it's cool. I'm just going to boom, go like a freight train. And then they get out of the shower and they're like, hey, like, where are you? And then, after like 5 minutes, they're freaking out because they've tried to call you and your phone is there and they don't know what's going on. And you show back up happy as a clam like 35 minutes later because you've just gone down and got your favorite pizza and you're so excited, and they are like losing their ever-living mind over a small little tiny thing. Whereas all you had to do was like just crack the door and be like, hey babe, I'm gonna run and get that pizza that we like. Be back soon. Like, you're not asking for permission. You're not waiting to be invited. You're not like, you don't have to wait, but you do need to inform. And so another example that I love that's told by Karen Curry Parker in her book, Understanding Human Design, is when it comes to parenting the manifestor child, like the manifestor child is like, just sitting there, maybe like 4 or 5 years old, and is like, you know what? There's like those woods at the end of the street that I just love playing in, and like it's really interesting, so I'm just gonna go. And so they just like walk out the front door and they go down there and they don't tell anybody. And as a parent, you can be like running around frantically, similar to the adult example, and you're just like, where is this kid? And there's no way to get a hold of them, and it's a huge problem. And that kid is so self-sufficient, like they'd be fine hanging out in the woods as long as they wanted to, like for days even, maybe not at 4 or 5 years old, but like there's this confidence and there's this ability to be self-sufficient that is real for manifestors. And a lot of times what manifestors learn as small children, and it only gets reinforced over and over again, is don't stop to inform because people will tell you no. And like, I don't want to be told no. So like, I'm just going to go do the thing. Way better to ask for forgiveness than permission is often the belief that comes about for the manifestor. But if you are a parent to a manifestor, or if you can parent yourself with this, you need to teach manifestor children to inform. It's, nobody likes to be told what to do. Nobody likes to be told what to do, but especially a manifestor. Do not tell manifestors what to do. They are not going to respond very well because they are actually the ones that are here to tell us what is happening. And so if a manifestor is informing you in your life, like they are not asking for permission. They don't want your approval. If they do, they'll say that, or you can clarify. But it's really easy, especially if you're in a kind of an authority position with a manifestor, or if you have an interesting dynamic with your partner where you feel more authoritative over them. Like the manifestor is actually, it's not that they're in charge. It's just that they're here to inform, and they are pure energy. Okay, so we got some comments. Kristen says, as a manifestor, I've had some business things I've been working on that I don't feel it's time to share with others. How do we navigate that? Seems like I'd know who it's appropriate to tell things to. Great question. Good clarification. So before you take action, before there's going to be action had, you figure out who will be impacted by this and then inform those people. So like if you have a partner, like husband, boyfriend, whatever, that is like going to be impacted by decisions that you're making in your business, tell that person. If you have a business partner, if you have children that will be impacted, if you have an audience, inform them before it happens. But you don't need to like violate your intellectual property. But what it comes down to is when you slow down to inform, you have to figure out who will be impacted by this decision and inform those people. And yes, some things will be informed in stages, because it's like, okay, I'm taking this first step, like I'm filing for this patent, or I'm buying this domain and I need to inform people that I'm going to be creating a website, but you don't need to go tell like all of your social media that you're doing that. You can just tell the people that are going to be impacted. Danielle says both of her kiddos are manifestors. Crystal says, she says same. My husband literally would say that rather than ask for forgiveness, as I always had to explain why he should let me know where he is going. Haha, Sarah said that. Yeah, it's like a thing. And we who are in the space with manifestors, we have the responsibility of letting them know that it is safe for them to tell us the things. And to encourage them and to point out like, hey, by the way, like, I'm just so excited to see what's going on. Like the energy that the rest of us have approaching manifestors is we're just like, oh, what's going on next? Like, what's happening here? And they're like, we're just literally like holding our breath waiting, because the generators are here waiting to respond, and the projectors are waiting for the invitation, and the reflectors are waiting for a full lunar cycle before making a decision. And so it's like, we need you to initiate and tell us what's going on. Manifesting generators have this after they respond. So a manifesting generator will get themselves into deep doo-doo, like not working, if they are trying to initiate and inform first before waiting to respond. That's one of the number one places that they get hung up, because they have that motor to the throat, but they also have that defined sacral. And so if they try to skip the step of waiting to respond, it's not going to work out. So other things with the manifestors, I see this especially with manifestor women, who have been raised in a really conservative culture. It can feel like the not self, the conditioning that we receive could tell you like, you're not supposed to initiate, that's too masculine, you shouldn't put yourself out there, you don't want to be bossy, you don't want to be seen as a bitch, like all of those things, right? Well, the manifestor aura is supposed to initiate, it's supposed to start things. Like, say you have a manifestor woman and a like projector man in a relationship, she's going to be the one to inform, and he's going to wait to be invited. Not just if they're living true to themselves, but that is like how the flow will go the best. Like, she might be the one to propose. And there can be creative ways where she can invite him to propose, or invite him to ask her on a date, or invite him to, to do this or that, to inform him like, this is what's going on. And so there is a way for there to be that very comfortable dynamic that is really embracing and like helping to support both. But to just know who you are as a manifestor, and to really begin your own experiment in that informing and checking in with your own authority. So like, if you're an emotional authority, if you're an ego authority, if you're a splenic authority, those are the only ones that you can be as a manifestor, those three. And so checking in with your personal authority and seeing like the emotional ones, you have to wait for the emotional wave to see what is the right thing for you to do. After you get that idea, you have to check with your authority to be like, is this the best idea for me? The ego authority is checking in with yourself, and the splenic authority is like a yes or a no. And it's really sharp and it's really quiet, and it only comes once, and you got to listen, and you make lightning fast decisions. So that's the strategy and authority. So the strategy is to inform, and the authority is whatever your personal authority is. And that'll be in the details of your human design chart. So it's really, really, really important to know who you are. And I see these manifestor women specifically, and most of the people in my group are women, so I feel comfortable speaking to that, that they are having a lot of stop and a lot of anger in their life, because they are not living true to themselves. They're not doing the informing. You might find that your career isn't going the way you want it to. Your love life isn't going the way you want it to. Your parenting isn't going the way you want it to, because you're not informing. And if it's like 10 out of 10 scary to you to think about like informing and then taking action, that's something that needs to be worked on. Most of the time when manifestors are able to tweak this thing and they're able to inform and just move forward, they are like stuff turns around for them in lightning speed. So yeah, Taylor says, I struggle with my ego authority. Checking in with self feels so loose. What does that even mean? Okay, so the ego center, the ego, like your authority is your heart center. It's checking in with that like worth. You're dealing with self-worth. You're dealing with willpower. You're dealing with like, what do you want? It's actually more focused on you. And it is a really uncommon one. So it's not seen as much. I know we have a few in here that are, a few that I know of that are in here that are ego manifestors. And it really comes down to like understanding the pulse of your own ego center and being able to kind of pull that out and then inform from there. It's very different than the emotional authority or the splenic authority one. And I'll tag Cassie in this. I know that she has been working a lot with her own ego authority, and she's been great. So I bet she'll have some really good insights. After I'm all done, I'll tag her in this for you, my dear. And I would love to have her chime in on how that has looked for her. Let's see. And then, oh, I went to scroll and it jumped. Tessa says, okay, so here's a question. I'm very excited about a vision right now for my business and life. Emo manifestor. This is not making it very easy. And my husband got an idea for, oh, wow, this is really hard. It keeps jumping as I try to scroll it. For our life, major shift, moving out of the country. Sounds so fun, but I didn't initiate it. And he's a generator, so I can feel my energy holding it back as if it was me initiating and forming this hidge out of the country. Huge. No, I don't know. Whatever that HIG word is supposed to be. Out of the country move. We could make it happen together in a heartbeat. LOL. Yeah, you could. I can't seem to like capture like the heart of your question because it keeps jumping as I'm trying to. Yeah. So I'm having a little bit of trouble like understanding, and I don't know if it's like because I'm live or because it keeps jumping, but I'll come back and answer that in the comments later. But if anybody else wants to jump in and answer to his comments. I want to ask you today, my son moved into 7th Libra house, relationships and marriage. Focus is that our TV. Yes, that there will be a lot of focus in your house of marriage for sure. Lisa says you have an undefined ego. Did you say you had the ego authority? I'm losing track. These comments it's a little bit hard, and I'm sorry for those that are watching the replay because it's a little bit hard for me to pay attention to what I'm doing and read the comments. So I'm gonna come back to all the comments later because they're just kind of now pulling me out of my focus completely. So with the manifestors, it is also so important that you understand that you don't have consistent access to your energy. So you don't have the ability to sustain yourself like all day long. So just because you initiate an idea, you are not going to be the person like working to see it through all the way. And if you have to work like a 9 to 5, like grind job, like 8 to 5, 8 to 6, 7 to 7, like how a lot of our culture is, you will probably feel very overwhelmed and very even angry because your not self theme is anger. And when you're living true to yourself, you will feel peaceful and you will be a very peaceful person. But if you are informing and then also trying to work hard, or if you're not informing and you're trying to work hard, you're making a recipe in your life for anger and for people to be angry with you, because we often will bring to people whatever is the not self theme that they have. And it is very interesting when it comes to manifestors that they really do get quite angry. I have 3 siblings that are manifestors and 1 parent that is a manifestor. So I have like a wildly disproportionate number of manifestors in my life. And to see the similarities and differences, of course, they're all unique people. But we're just sitting around waiting for you to inform. Okay, yeah, Lisa, you're an undefined, and then Taylor is the one that was saying that she had the ego authority. Yeah, it can also feel very lonely. Because you need to retreat and recoup and you need to take breaks and you need to rest, often that can be perceived by other people as like you're being lazy or you're not like doing your part and all of that, because maybe you got the ball rolling and people have this expectation for some reason or another, because you're either putting it out there or because that's their own stuff, especially as a 5-1 for you, Taylor. But there is this aspect of like needing to like having that awareness that you are not here to be the one to do the work, and you are here to call other people in to do the work, the people that like will deeply love it, and that's their calling, that's their purpose in life too. And it can be really, really beautiful and cohesive. But that undefined sacral is really prone to burnout if you are trying to like work hours and hours a day. You're not here to work, you're here to inform. And so you really shouldn't work more than like 4 or 5 hours in a day. Maybe a little bit longer if you have more motors, but not really. Like, and even then, like not straight. Like you'll need to take breaks and you need to build that in. But you need to just be really, really protective of the space that you have in your life. Like whatever you do for your career should allow you to step back and pull out and just kind of discharge all of the energy buildup that can happen. And also the worst thing that you can do is go to bed totally exhausted. If you use up all of your physical energy in a day and you get to the point where you're completely depleted, especially if this is night after night, you are cruising for disaster. So like the projector, when the manifestor burns out, it can be for years. You can have literal years and years and years of burnout. Especially if you do the thing where you like burn out and you're not functioning very well, and you burn out and you have to recoup, but then you recoup long enough to get like a micro bit of energy, and then you jump up and you like become the freight train again, and then you slam against the wall. You can be caught in that cycle for years of burnout, where you barely have enough to even get through. And it's like, well, how am I supposed to work? How am I supposed to take care of myself? How am I supposed to provide if I'm totally burnt out? I have to do something. Well, there is a way for you to be able to provide for yourself, keep a roof over your head, keep food in your belly, and also recover. And the world is definitely shifting towards that. That there are more and more options, more like telecommuting positions, more like you can run your own business and you can do a whole lot of things that are not going to create that like 40, 50, 60 hours a week, or like 90 hours a week that some people are working, 100 hours a week. Like that literally breaks my brain. I used to work like that and I had epic hellacious burnout. I couldn't function for over 3 years because I kept trying to just get enough energy and then go burnout. Generators can totally burn out too. Their burnout usually will be significantly significantly shorter, especially if you're actually able to rest. So like a generator, you will kind of stay burned out if you're like shifted into a gear of like doing something that's really, really out of alignment and you're trying to like just slam on the gas with your fabulous energy. Like, of course you're going to burn out if you're doing something that's not in alignment for you. Everybody can burn out, but like the burnout of the non-sacral, like the undefined sacral, has the potential to go a very long time, where if you're caught in a cycle, whatever your sacral motor definition is, you can be in burnout, but like nothing compares to the burnout of an undefined sacral that truly, truly has like been like thrusting themselves forward on borrowed energy for years. And of course I say this from very profound, highly traumatizing experience. Like my burnout was so traumatizing. It took me a long time before I even could do this group because I was so afraid that I would burn out again. So, yeah, and I'll definitely do a video for the generators and the manifesting generator separately because there's a whole bunch there. Yeah. So all of that said, would love to continue to hear your questions about manifestors and everything. And Taylor, I'm going to connect you up with Cassie because I think you two will have a lot in common to kind of swap about the ego manifestor. And then, so for the manifesting night, so we have, so we're doing a manifesting night. So we have an eclipse portal coming up. So we have a new moon solar eclipse happening on Saturday afternoon is when the actual like exact eclipse is happening. The sun is in Taurus and the moon is in Taurus, and they will be exact at 14 degrees Taurus. And also Uranus is right there too. So this is a very, very unexpected, powerful new moon eclipse, all the things. And with eclipses, we always see 2 or 3, and this one has 2. And so then we have a portal until the sun is in Taurus and then the moon is in Scorpio. So we have a full moon Scorpio. And so we are going to do another manifesting night. For those that have been in the group for a while, we did 2 different nights before the actual new moon and full moon. And last time it was a full moon and then a new moon was the order that we did them in. And interestingly enough, it was a full moon in Taurus with the sun in Scorpio back in November. And so that was the last eclipse portal that we had. And so this next eclipse portal, like this is so powerful, you guys. It's so exciting. And there's a ton of stuff going on with Venus with this. And so we're going to get into all the details about this. I thought about doing it as a live here in the group, but like there's so much visual content. And I want to host a manifesting night where we can go over like how to really use this particular eclipse portal as well as the new moon and the full moon, and how to help it to create what it is that you want in your life. And so we're doing that on Thursday night, so 2 nights from the night of this video. So that's the 28th at 7:30 p.m. Mountain Time. I'm in Southern Utah. I'm in St. George, Utah. And so when I post times, it's my time, and you guys can figure out where you're at compared to me. And so we'll do it at 7:30. It's going to be over Zoom and it'll be recorded so you can rewatch it or you can catch the replay. It's only $11. And so I'll put the link in here as well. And last time we did this, like a whole bunch of you guys attended. It was super fun. We did a Q&A at the end. It was a blast. I totally loved it. I love the eclipse portal energy. It's so potent, and I will prep some really, really good stuff for you guys. And really go into the details of how you can use this. Yes. Same as Salt Lake time, Lisa. And how you can really use this to be able to like create what it is that you want in your life. Because the new moon is a really powerful time for manifesting. It'll be on Zoom and it will be live as well. And then we'll do a live Q&A. So I'll post the link and you guys can jump in. Like I said, it's only $11. Like I love doing these that are super affordable. And I just think it's going to be a great time. So I'll post the link in the comments as well as in the description of this. And then I'll send out an announcement email as well. And I'm really, really excited about this particularly. And I wanted to share it with you guys. Now, if you guys are catching the replay of this like way in the future and you've totally like missed this, I think I will continue whenever there's a solar eclipse, like portal, like an eclipse portal that's happening. I think this will become a standard thing and the link will always redirect to the current one that I'm doing. So, if there is one pending. So if you guys are seeing this like way in the future and you're like, I want to be a part of that, there will be more. So, but each one is so individual to the actual energies that are happening right now. Like with having so many placements in Pisces and with Uranus conjunct this new moon, like, oh my gosh, this is actually exactly conjunct my Chiron. So I'm just like, like duck and cover. And so how to be able to tell like how it's interacting in your chart and how it's affecting you, like we'll go over all of that stuff. So, yeah, I'll post those links. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I really look forward to the continued comments. Thank you for your patience with me as I tried to decipher the comments with my phone jumping around. And I hope you guys have a fabulous rest of your day. Love you.